What do a cup of coffee, a roller coaster, and a scary movie all have in common? And do they have the power to make somebody like you? I'm Cassie Nevitt. I'm the creator of Present with Confidence, and I help women speak confidently in business so that they can attract the positive attention they want, they can make the impact they want to make, and they can earn the income they deserve in doing that. Now, the question of human behavior has always fascinated me. I grew up being a straight-A student. I went to one of the top 15 universities in the country, and I studied psychology there, which is where this seed was planted, this idea that I'll come back to, I promise, of the roller coaster, the cup of coffee, the scary movie. But psychology is where this seed was planted, and it raised a couple of eyebrows when I went on to do training and certification in Pilates, and then in the art of feminine presence, and then pulling it into speaking. So what do all of these things have in common? And why are they so important in terms of helping women and helping people be confident in presenting themselves and in their interactions and the way they move through the world? It all, for me, I think, comes back to this seed of a study that I learned about in a social psychology course. It's called the misattribution of arousal. So what the study did, they were in an outdoor setting with a really long suspension bridge over a deep ravine. So if you were walking over this, you'd probably be experiencing some fear, your heart rate would increase, your breathing would change, you'd be kind of hyper-focused, all of your internal resources are focusing on the safety of the situation. So a lot of physiological changes. What they did was they had an interviewer, a researcher, stop people in the middle of the bridge and ask them a series of questions and then invite them to follow up with a phone call. So it was a woman researcher stopping men. And they did the same thing in sort of a mundane setting on a really safe feeling bridge. Stopped people, told them, if you want more information about the study, here's my number, give me a call. They found that significantly more men called, and the stories that they came up with in the survey had really different content. It was a little more sexual in nature, based on whether they were on this kind of scary suspension bridge or they were in the really safe place. So men that were on the suspension bridge with their physiological arousal being up, the heart rate, maybe sweaty palms, whatever, they discovered that people attributed, when they didn't have another explanation, they attributed that physiological arousal to liking the person in front of them. And I found that really fascinating. Just that our bodies and our chemistry, the things that happen without us knowing, have so much power over the emotions we experience and the way we feel about people, who we like, what we like. So that was a seed that started me on this whole path into really understanding the body, really understanding how we can harness that power in order to have our interactions with people be more positive, whether that's in a professional setting or, personal and intimate. So that to me is fascinating. And of course, a cup of coffee, a roller coaster, and a scary movie all have that same effect. They increase our heart rate, they get us, into that state, and you can have a very successful date maybe if you have those factors in play. So what is the application of this? Well, it's a seed. So it's sort of a foundational piece to just play with and to have in your knowledge base of how people are affected and how people are not all that rational or in control of what they feel. So I don't say this that you can manipulate people, that is never the intention, but the idea is if you're speaking and you want to engage people, you want to have them interested in your content, what can you do that's going to get them to feel alive a little bit more, to have their heart start going? Maybe they move around if there's an exercise you have them do. Maybe there's a story that you tell that in following that story, people are going to have a physiological experience. Anything that you can do to engage people and have them really be there with you so that your content can come through, the message you're there to share can come through. And this is true, in one-on-one too, as everything. So play with that, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear if you have a story in your past. I know I had one that the second I learned about the misattribution of arousal, I realized why I had a crush on my glass-blowing TA back in college. There was a moment of fear, a moment where he saved the day for somebody, and that was the start of a crush that otherwise I couldn't explain why I was attracted to this guy. So maybe you have a story like that. I would love to hear it in the comments below. And maybe this has opened up some ahas around things that you're going to do to engage people or to really bring them into the message that you have to share. So I hope that was at least entertaining and a little bit educational for you. If you haven't signed up already for receiving these weekly tips, head on over to CassieNevitt.com. And if you scroll down the homepage, you can look on the right side and just sign up your name and email address. You'll get these tips into your inbox every Tuesday. Thanks so much for watching, and make it a great week.